All sports have their own version of a unicorn. That one player that has it all. Size, skill, speed, and athleticism. It's all there at elite levels. Whether that's the 7-footer who shoots 40% from beyond the arch, or the hybrid linebacker who's as likely to sack you as he is to pick you off. These are the players GMs salivate over, and the ones that they will pursue relentlessly. Hockey is no different, with the hockey unicorn being that big power forward type with soft hands and playmaking ability who can drop 40 goals in a season while dropping opponents like a bag of fertilizer. Iggy, Doan, Shanahan, and all those who have played with the name Kachuk stitched on the back of their sweaters have been recent-ish examples of this, while hockey's white whale of a power forward prospect remains, and forever will be, Eric Lindros. So, what does this have to do with Conor Geekie? Well, he checks off a lot of the boxes that GMs have for a power forward prospect. He's 6'4", 200 pounds, and is scoring at a point per game pace in the WHL. But is he a true power forward? Is he the next hockey unicorn? Let's take a look and see how many of these boxes he actually checks in this edition of A Former Scout's Take. Something all great power forwards have to have is scoring ability, and Geekie mostly has it. His hands are soft and he has an ability to score with touch, not a common thing for any player, much less one with his size. Like most prospects, his shot velocity has some room for improvement, and I'd like to see how his soft touch is affected by more physical play from defenders. Can he still pick his shot while having to muscle his way through tight coverage? We likely won't find out until he reaches the NHL, but my guess is that he'll find a way. Otherwise, his shooting ability isn't anything to write home about. His touch and placement makes it above average, but it's far from the best tool in his tool chest. He checks this box, but not soundly. Playmaking isn't always a necessary skill for a power forward. At least, not as much as understanding the offensive game and putting themselves in the best position to either score or make space for their teammates. And this is where we see the first big break in the mold for Conor. While he might not have 30-goal potential, his playmaking is going to make him a valuable player for a very long time. His passes are crisp, as his soft hands once again shine here. Most impressive for me, however, is his vision. Head on a swivel is often a term saved for defenders to make sure no one sneaks past them, but Geekie displays why it can be equally valuable on offense. Rarely will you see him enter a corner or the zone without taking a peek and surveying his surroundings, finding a smart play. He makes his read with speed and trusts his eyes, allowing him to move and act quicker than we are used to seeing from someone with his size. I have my doubts about whether or not he is actually reading the defense versus just finding the open player or passing lane, but the bottom line is that can be just as effective. If you're able to make quick, accurate reads, you don't need to dissect the defense because you can make a play and keep up the offensive push. There is no sophisticated defense to dissect if they are on their heels after all. That really sums up what makes him so special to me. He's an offensive force, not entirely because of his size or shot, but because he drives the offense, relentlessly pushing with speed and size until the defensive cracks show and either he or his teammates take advantage of them. Maybe he checks these boxes after all. His skating and size is mostly par for the course for a top power forward prospect. He's deceptively fast and is able to build straight line speed quickly, often reaching top speed in transition around center ice. Quick cuts and the more agile moves are a work in progress, but he has confidence in his edges and is able to use his reach to help keep on opposing players. Most importantly, however, is that he is strong on his skates. The biggest problem bigger, especially taller, players can run into is that they can be a little too top-heavy. To compensate for this, they have to be able to dig in, lower their center of gravity, and drive through contact rather than absorb it. Geekie understands this and uses it when defending in one-on-one situations, as well as when making a power move towards the net. Most impressively is that he knows to get low in the corners and along the boards. This is often the spot where taller players run into trouble, as I can point to several NHLers who regularly lose board battles because they have to spend too much of their energy and focus on making sure they don't fall over, rather than getting the job done against, oftentimes, smaller opponents. Geekie again prefers to keep things fast and has no problem lowering his shoulder if it means he can keep play moving. You can check both of these boxes. Defense has always been a mixed bag for power forwards. Yes, they are big and can punish anyone who gets a little too careless around them, but they are rarely capable of shutting down a skilled opponent, opting rather to force play out of their zone by whatever means necessary. Geekie is kinda right there with them. He backchecks well and has great instincts for where the puck is going, but again, this is where he breaks the mold a little. Rather than using his size to go and body someone off the puck, he's just as willing to wait for them to make a pass he can intercept, or collect a puck off a missed shot or board scrum. His goal defensively is to get back on offense as quickly as possible, but he isn't going to sacrifice his position or body to do it. And of course, once he has the puck, it's off to the races for him and his teammates. I don't totally know how to grade his defensive potential other than to say I think he has natural instincts for where the puck is going, and that he is a lock to get the puck out of your zone if you can get it to him. Beyond that, he might just be an average guy. Mark this box as inconclusive. So looking back at it all, Conor Geekie checks almost all of the classic power forward boxes one way or another. He does things his own way, and therein lies the rub when it comes to player comparison. Geekie's style and strengths don't totally line up with those of a Jerome McGinley or a Shane Doan, in part because the game has changed. We talk about how the game has gotten faster all the time, how skill has taken on a larger role than size, etc., etc. And today's power forwards like Geekie reflect that. This is why my player comp for Conor Geekie is Mikko Rantanen. Like Rantanen, Geekie is big and strong on his skates, but he isn't looking to knock guys around. Rather, he's looking to make plays. Both have above average shots that are better at sneaking past a goaltender than blowing it by him. They can make plays at full speed and have an unyielding desire to be on the attack. It can't be ignored that Rantanen landed in the perfect spot in Colorado, playing with Gabriel Landeskog, a great new age power forward in his own right, and Nathan MacKinnon, and that has helped inflate some of his scoring numbers. But he would have found a way to be an effective offensive weapon anywhere. The same can be said of Geekie. Like all prospects, his future will in part be decided by whatever team drafts him, which is why stat predictions can be a little fuzzy. Geekie will take a year or two before hitting the show, but when he does, and once he reaches his prime, 20 goals and 65 points seems like a safer floor for his potential rather than its upper limit. That does it for this edition of A Former Scout's Take. Thanks so much for joining us for the Scouting Report. Just as a reminder, Patreon members get to see these videos a whole month early, as well as vote on who we are going to take a look at next, so make sure to check out the link in the description below. And while you're down there, make sure to like this video and to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more of our great hockey content. Thanks, see you next time.